Welcome, welcome, welcome. On today's episode of Bio Bootcamp, yesterday we talked about the test, and today we're talking about true results, right? These are the results that people are getting from around the world on the test that we've been telling you to take right here on Bio Bootcamp Live. Let's go. All right. Every episode thus far on Bio Bootcamp has been with my guy, Stuart Tomc, and today will be no different. But today we're talking about real results from the test. Yesterday we talked about where the test goes, how to facilitate the test, how awesome the test is being a leader in the industry of test-based nutrition. And today, let's see what those results look like. Stuart, how are you today, sir?
I never had a bad day in my life, Nolen. It's so good to see you.
Hey, man, always happy to see you. Always happy to see you. Now, here's the thing about taking the test. Anytime you take a test, you want the results. You want to know if you passed or failed. You want to know how good you did. You want to know how you compare to everybody else. And today is all about results.
That's why I love this program so much. I hate to speak over you because it's all about the results, isn't it, Nolen?
Absolutely, it's all about the results. So what do you have for us today? Are we looking at your results? Are we looking at, because I know my results aren't in yet, but what are we looking at today?
Well, I'll quickly tell you my story. I put other slides together for another episode. I'm more than happy to share my test results. Everyone's going to show their before and after pictures. I was 13-1 omega-6 to omega-3. Yikes.
And you were, hold on, don't just say it that way, right? You were 13-1. You were head of Nordic Naturals, right? And you were eating sardines every day. And you still was not within the 3-1, 2-1, or 1-1 balance.
Well, no, just for historical accuracy. When I passed almost 20 years ago, I was eating the sardines.
Okay, got you.
Right, and I got a little bit of a fish allergy. I could have been coincidental. I just overate fish every single day.
Right.
But then when I took this test, I thought maybe this whole omega-3 thing is exaggerated. Because I like to take the other side of the trade.
Right. Okay.
I'm very biased because I've spent my life studying the subject. Socrates is one of my teachers, and he said, "What do I know?" That's why the whole alpha, omega, only he knows. The beginning and the end, we have to remain teachable. So I thought, I got an idea. How about if I just focus on the plants? Because, a lot of people go back and forth. I was one of them to go vegan and then to go paleo and then back to vegan.
Right.
I'm just switching seats on the Titanic, one of my teachers said. But I thought I'll give it a shot. So I'm eating lots of flax meal and green leafy vegetables and tofu and tempeh. Like I was working out every single day. And I'm eating all of these plant sources of omega-3. And I was eating these omega-3 muffins that have flax meal in there. And they actually taste pretty good. My wife's like, they taste like cardboard. I mean, I kind of learned to enjoy them. And I just thought, maybe for all those years with omega-3, I was exaggerating it. That's why when I took that test, our test, and I scored 13-1, and a passing score is 3-1, right. I was like, wow, everyone does need this test. Now, here's part of my experiment. I started taking the balance product, but I did not change my background diet at all. I didn't want that to be a factor. Like I didn't start eating tons of fish and, every once in a while I'll eat French fries, and it's my guilty pleasure. But I was eating everything that I normally ate. I then, after 120 days of only adding the balanced product, I got down to 3-1. And I'm going to take my next test here any day, and I'm expecting this next one to be closer to 2-1 to 1-1. So at the end of the day, that's my story, right? What was my number before? And, I like how you were transparent about your age, right? And you look amazing, Nolen. I'll be turning 57. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm going to be turning 57. Now, again, it could be genetics, like my buddy that I was making fun of in the last episode. There was probably a little bit tongue-in-cheek on my behalf. I love you, Mark. Sorry about that. But our job is to stay healthy. So if I had good genetics, right, I'm not going to use this to say, well, hey, look at what I'm doing. Our job is to stay healthy. That's why today we're going to do a deep dive on results. We're going to look at some results all over the world. How's that?
Hey, let's do it.
Okay, let's pull up the slides. And here we go. Episode 9, real results. Let's start with a peer-reviewed published paper in sports science. So here is a peer-reviewed published paper in a medical journal. Look at the title: Fish Oil, Polyphenols, and Physical Performance. Does that sound like everything we're tying together on your show on Bio Bootcamp?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's not just fish oil and physical performance. It's not just polyphenols and physical performance. Why do we want fish oil and polyphenols? Because the leading experts in the world, including the consensus statements, say you want the omega-3 levels of the Inuit diet and you want the polyphenols of the Mediterranean diet together. That's why we call the balanced product a Mediterranean diet in a bottle. So look at this study. This is European football soccer players. So I want to apologize to any of the American football players that are watching this that say that this is not football, but it's football soccer. Okay.
Right.
It's very hard too. So it's just a different sport. By the end of the intervention period, we were able to reduce their average omega-6-3 ratios from 12.5 down to 3.5. Do you see that?
Yes.
This is the whole team. We're going to get into individuals here in a moment. Now look at the next slide.
No, and hold on. I just want people to realize those are professional athletes, right? And so that they're thinking consciously about, they're putting all the best things in their bodies.
That's right. And they live in Norway.
Right. They live in, and you do realize that, and I'm glad you bring that up, that everyone knows that in Europe, they literally ban a lot of the things that they let in our food that's not good for you. Now, I'm not going to go through all the red dyes and all the chemicals and this, that, and the third. But if you don't know, then look it up. So their diet, geographically of where they are, has them eating probably better and cleaner. Their governments are stricter on making the food more nutritious and less harmful. Let's say just less harmful, not more nutritious. Making it less harmful by banning a bunch of the chemicals and things that's putting it. And these guys train. And because they use their bodies. So I want you to realize, Stuart, that if you were like 12, 13 to 1, you were literally at the level of these top-notch athletes. And the reason football and soccer is different is that these 350-pound dudes is not running up and down the field all day, every day for one go. They're not. Like, it's a bunch of different breaks. So I'm not knocking any football players, but you're not running up and down the field. So I'm just saying, from a health standpoint, or a health that's probably more relative to the average person, a soccer player that's not putting on tons of muscle, eating tons of creatine and, protein shakes or whatever it is to get strong, to be like monster strong, like jump out the closet, boogeyman type strong, right? Those guys, they train a little bit different than the soccer players. And the soccer players got an engine that just keeps going. I don't even know how these guys run. It's got to be like they're sprinting about 10 miles per game, like sprinting about 10 miles a game. But I say all of that to say this. If the top athletes overseas that's eating clean, that's working out on purpose, that's in tip-top condition, that can sprint 10 miles a game, is at 12.5 to 1 omega-3, dude, just think of the average person. That's why the average person is about 25 to 1. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, yeah, thank you so much, because we're getting deep now. Like we've been building up every episode.
Yep.
Right? You can go back and listen to original ones, or just keep plugging in now, because we're not going to hold back here. We're going to show you the evidence, right? Real numbers from 12.5 to 3.5, the whole team. It's not just one person. That's the average. But look at the next line. Rates of absenteeism due to infection and injury were reduced by 85 and 57% respectively. What? I know, it's kind of a
due
stunning
to
moment.
infection and injury were reduced by 85 and 57% respectively, contributing to improved performance, morale, and the position in the league. So explain that a little bit more.
So the rate of absenteeism, right? That's going to cost your team more than anything, is being out of the game.
Sure.
Absenteeism is what costs businesses so much.
Right.
Which is why this thesis, as we build up episode after episode, is a way to probably balance the budget of the United States of America, right? If not the entire world, because absenteeism is what costs you the game. So if you look at it, rates of absenteeism due to infection and injury were reduced by 85% reduction in infection.
Right.
57% reduction in injury.
Right.
Whoa.
That is huge.
I mean, like, and this is, you talk about performance enhancement. That is performance enhancement on a cellular level. And this is WADA approved. This is it's not NSF certified yet here in this country, although it will be. It's True Sport in Europe. Our chief product officer, and we're going to have him on the show at some point, works in sports physiology PhD, has been a rugby player his whole life. He's got some of the top football, soccer players and rugby teams in Europe doing this exact same test, taking the same balance product. So more is going to be revealed, but those numbers going from 12.5 rather, to 3.5, going from out of balance into balance, reduced infection 85% and injury by 57%. Are you getting why I get so jacked up like this every day, Nolen?
Absolutely. And that leads into the episode that we did yesterday on, not yesterday was the test, the day before yesterday, of Designed to Heal, right? Because the cells are designed to heal if it's in the perfect environment. And we are trying our best to put our cells in the perfect environment so we can get these type of results.
And they're still healthy. These
Right,
aren't old sick people.
Right.
They have not had amplified tissue damage.
Exactly.
So that's our job. And I want the Federal Trade Commission and the FDA and the European Food Safety Authority and the Therapeutic Goods Administration and all of the government bodies around the world to listen to our show and endorse Bio Bootcamp, because we're not making any ridiculous claims. We're just pointing to the data. And now we're going to show you from around the world.
Now that you've called all those people, I feel like I should put a tie on.
I know. We should.
We call some big people to look at our show, and I'm like, hold on, let me sit up straight and say,
right?
I'm Nolen Davis, right? Like, I'm like, let me get it together.
Welcome to the Federal Trade Commission. Thanks for listening to the show, right? Because everyone can get online and say ridiculous stuff and make claims, because we're not making a claim from this. We're showing you this is a peer-reviewed, published paper on combining fish oil and polyphenols like we do, using the test before and after, and demonstrating how the cells can heal the body. Now, when we start looking at the earth, this is important. We had to do randomized control trials, and I got this from the chief science officer that does the testing. He said this. He's the chief science officer that does the testing, Thomas Gunderson, PhD, Professor Gunderson. He said, we had to do randomized control trials where you have inclusion and exclusion criteria because you can't test the entire world. Guess what, Nolen?
What?
We can, and we are.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So you take your randomized control trial, which is funny because in a randomized control trial, anybody look this up, 50% of randomized control trials could not be recreated. Which means when you try to redo a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, you create all the same environment, but you're going to get a different result. So that shows you how confusing that can be. Then you have what's called a meta-analysis.
Okay.
We've talked about that before on the show, but that's where we take the studies, we put them all in together, and it's a study of the studies. Well, at the end of the day, all that matters is you. So that's why these tests, right? You see this?
Absolutely.
That's why this is so disruptive. This is where, again, our chief science officer said, the Gutenberg press. You don't need an intercessor. You just go directly to your own data. But look at this slide. When I took this screen grab, we had tested in the United States. Now, this is collectively. Nolen and I are going to test together 250,000 people before and after. This is the entire group. Tested 44,500 and, what is that, 49?
Yep.
Okay. And look at the first score. Was 22.6 to 1. And it's covering up on my little slide advancer. But it came down to what? 3.1?
2.5 to 1.
Okay. So that was 44,000 people. 8,000 people. That's considered a mega trial. Well-powered, multi-centered, all over the world. 8,000 people. Here's 44,000 real-world results. Here's Canada. We've tested 3,746 people in Canada. The first score was 14.8. Is that correct? 14.6. 14.6. And it came down to 3.1 to 1. If you notice, the starting score here in the United States was 22.6 to 1.
The worst.
You saw that?
The worst.
In Canada, 14. So they're eating better. They're eating more fish than we are in Canada. But did you notice how we both come down to the safe range?
Yes.
You see this? Now let's look at Sweden, our hometown. That's where we're from, Nolen and I.
Right.
We're from Sweden. Tested 140,000 people. Well, all we're going to do is test the same percentage number of people here as we have there.
Correct.
We're not part of anybody's experiment. This is just prior performance is the only indicator for future results. Look at they eat more fish than we do. They're 10.2 to 1. But it's still not 3 to 1, is it?
It's not.
It's still out of balance. And they come down to ding, 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 2.7 to 1.
Right.
Okay. So now let's look at India. India's a fascinating country. Wow. A lot of people spiritually centered, vegan diet, vegetarian, not all of them, right? But a lot of focus on mind, body, and spirit, right? We know that.
Absolutely.
40. What?
Right. That's ridiculous. 40.7 to 1. That's worse than I didn't think anybody was going to be worse than the U.S. I did.
Yeah, and even Turkey, actually, it's even higher. And we haven't tested a lot of people in the Middle East yet, but in a lot of those cultures, they eat meat for breakfast, meat for lunch, meat for dinner. And if you're not eating grass-fed meat and you're not taking balanced product, you're going to be out of balance. So this, to show people the breadth and the depth, as Nolen and I are building, we have a global team of healthcare providers and physicians around the world. This right here, this data, Nolen, is more persuasive to them than even the study that I originally showed. They think that's great. Everybody needs a peer-reviewed study, but this data right now is what we're data mining to publish. So watch out in the not-so-distant future, publications on this data. Let's look at Japan. Now, Japan on average eats 250, that's our test number, 250 pounds of seafood per person per year in Japan.
Right.
And look at their score. They still failed the test. When someone says, 7.6, that's not that bad. I mean, imagine any other biomarker. Your A1C blood sugar is only a little bit over the part that declares you type 2 diabetic.
Right.
It could be a lot worse. You're still type 2 diabetic. Your blood pressure, there's a certain range. Above that, you're hypertensive. And if exercise and lifestyle medicine won't work for you, they have no choice but to put you on the drugs. So I want people...
No,
please.
You want people to what? Go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
So here's the thing that I look at, right? I'm from Chicago. You're from Chicago as well. And so one of my main food sources is pizza. I don't really care if it's not supposed to be. I don't care, right? I will eat vegetables for 18 days straight, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to have pizza on the 19th day. And I need everybody to shut up talking. Now, I know for a fact I'm not going to change that. I would rather die than to not eat pizza at least once a quarter. And I'm talking about the good stuff, the Giordano, like the deep dish. I want it, right? Whatever I got to do to get it, I want it. So I say that to say this. It's so many people that are just they're eating pizza and cheeseburgers and fries and ho-hos and ding-dongs and Spam and all of the stuff that you talked about. And that's their regular diet. So for the people that are within 7 to 1, 8 to 1, if you don't want to change anything, not because if you look at this, in Japan, it was only 295 people that's taken the test thus far. When you look at tens of thousands of people, the average is 22 to 1. And when you look at the ailments in the United States and the ailments that Japan has, Japan is one of the countries that's a blue zone with the longest living elders ever. We don't have that here, right? And so with that, for the people that say, I'm just fine, I just want you to get your biomarkers. I just want you to take the test. If you're comfortable with being 7 to 1, not a problem. But if you're like 25 to 1, 20 to 1, 18 to 1, if you're in double digits to 1, then we need to work on it. And as we talk about the test, I want to show you a video right now on what the test is all about. And we'll be right back.
6.3 billion people are not getting enough omega-3s. Omega-3 is an essential fatty acid. We need to get our omega-3s from the food we eat, or by taking supplements with fish oil. Antioxidants ensure the omega-3s stay fresh and potent, so our body can absorb the nutrients. But not just any antioxidants will get the job done. Polyphenols are the game changer. Powerful micronutrients working in synergy with the omega-3s to slow down oxidation and optimize absorption in order to offer long-term health benefits to your body. The refining process will rid the fish oil of virtually all mercury and PCBs. Unfortunately, this process also washes out the natural polyphenols in the oil. This is why most modern omega-3 supplements have little effect in the body. Polyphenols from pre-harvest olives are the plant-based equivalent to the antioxidants naturally found in seafood. This is a fact often overlooked by the fish oil industry. It puts our Balance Oil Plus in a league of its own. Our synergistic formula brings the magic of polyphenols and omega-3s back together. This is a revolution in omega-3 supplements. Our supplement is actually closer to oily fish than fish oil. We've captured a true force of nature. All you have to do is put our product to the test, literally. The Zenzino Balance Test is at the heart of our balance concept. You take the test before you start using our Balance Oil Plus, and then again after 120 days. This way, you get to see for yourself if your essential fatty acid levels have been restored. And we get to prove that our supplements really work. Let's take the guesswork out of a healthier way of living. Find out if you're in the clear, or if it's time to act now to maintain normal physical and mental functions in your body. From the pioneers of test-based, personalized nutrition. Zinzino. Inspire change in life.
And so we're back. And before we watched that video about the test, I was talking about, on average, people in the United States are about 22 to 1. And Stuart, you have a test here showing 23 to 1. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, here's a sample test result. As you can tell from the top, it's blinded. All you know is that it is a female who's 63 years old. And she was not taking omega-3 products per se. She was taking a vegan D3 product. I'm sorry, a vegan DHA product, a vegan DHA product that also had vegan D3 in it. And she was eating a very heavy plant-based diet. Actually, this human being was a raw food chef, very, very healthy. This person was the former strength trainer to the Navy SEALs. So physically very, very, very fit, has aged beautifully. Participated in the Eco Challenge, which is the most difficult race on Earth, and actually has been to all 5 of the blue zones. You said something earlier, but I learned this from this human. I'm not going to mention her name for privacy reasons, but I learned from her that there is a blue zone here in Loma Linda, California, with the Seventh-day Adventists. She said, to your point, that they have been to, she's a longevity researcher, she's been to Japan maybe 15 times, to Okinawa, where people live longer than anybody in the world. And now that we're working together, she's making this observation that in all of those blue zones, that they all had a healthy balance between omega-6 and omega-3, and they all had a lot of polyphenols in their diet, which I think is fascinating. So when I first introduced the test to her, she kind of said, oh, well, I'm going to ace this test, honey. 3 to 1 is passing, 2 to 1 is better, 1 to 1 is perfect. This was her test. Would you like to see her results after 120 days, Nolen?
Absolutely.
Drum roll.
Roll, please. 1.8 to 1.
Look at all the green.
I was going to say everything's in the green.
Now, this is so beautiful. Subconsciously, you don't, this is the Gutenberg press. You don't need an intercessor anymore. What does that mean? You go from out of balance into balance. From out of balance, there we go, into balance.
Right.
From red to green. Right. One of the doctors on our team says this. He said, Stuart, I make it so easy. I say to my patients, wow, that's not what we want to see. We want everyone we love walking the earth with green test results.
Right.
Now, if you want to go a little bit further, why do we want everybody walking the earth with green test results? Because when you have a balance of 1.8 to 1, we now have enough omega-3 to resolve the inflammation that happens. Inflammation happens. It's the resolution of inflammation that gets delayed. So now this woman can maintain a healthier inflammatory response. And if you look at on the lower, I know it's a small number, omega-3 index, do you see where it says 9.6, where my cursor is? Her omega-3 index before was 3.1. Right. Now her omega-3 index is 9.6.
It's all up.
That means that the red blood cell now has the shear strength and flexibility, we're going to do a whole show on this for athletes, to become half of its size, to carry oxygen more effectively through the body. So she's training still all the time. She says, Stuart, I'm putting on muscle. I'm losing some abdominal, just a little bit of squishiness. we want everyone to take a before and after picture. You take a before picture when you take your test. 120 days later, take another picture of yourself. It's not Botox. It's not lighting. It's not surgery. The cells are designed to heal when you get into balance. Now, here's a woman who couldn't wait the 120 days. And so she took a test at 30 days. You see this on the chart here?
Yep.
And then another test. And then she got her 90-day test results in. So it's small print. I know you can't see it that well. But the first test, Nolen, correct me if I'm wrong. It's pretty small. I think it says 56-1 on the first one.
Oh, I can't see.
You see it? Okay. So it's 56-1. And then it came down dramatically. And then it came down to the yellow where she was semi-balanced. And then she was completely balanced after 120 days. With your test results emailed to you that have nothing to do with public health policy except for you. You are the public health policy.
Right. So I'm curious, the person that, because I know whose test you showed earlier, can we get that person on the show?
Yes, we can.
Because I would love to really dig into, so we can meet some of these people, just even from a testimonial standpoint. And you said something else earlier, and I'm always thinking, I got big ideas, dude. Like I keep telling you, I'm not the average dude that's like, hey, let's just do a show. As soon as an idea, and I got the juice to do it. That's part of my problem. That's why I did the Guinness World Record. That's why I've written books. So here's my thing. You remember Jerry Lewis used to have like a telethon?
Yes, I love those.
Dude, I'm thinking, why not we do a virtual telethon?
Testathon.
A testathon. Let's do a testathon. And you heard it here first. Now you about to see how Nolen Davis gets down with his idea. I'll just come up with an idea.
Generic.
Let's do a virtual, thank you, testathon. The testathon. Let's do a virtual testathon with a bunch of doctors and testimonials with the test drive that we're going to do. And we do it for like an insane amount of time, like 12 hours. And we just line up all the doctors.
Yeah, the number of the greatest number of tests in the shortest period of time.
Right. And we get all the doctors lined up. We get all the authors of the books. We get all the testimonials lined up. And even if we do it 5 hours, we do a live stream and do it 5 hours straight. And we stream on every platform and put it out there. And you and I interview the doctors. We interview the people that's taking the test to show their before and after. We do all of it.
I love it. Just seeing the blood just dripping.
Right.
That's what counts. One drop at a time.
Right. One drop at a time. Like, let's go. A testathon.
And so the woman that did these, that these are her test results, she'll also be a guest on Bio Bootcamp too.
Absolutely.
So and that way she can walk you through the whole process of step by step. So how do we get it right? Okay. It's weight specific, dry blood spot test creates accountability. Weight specific means that it's precision.
Correct.
Nolen, there were times I'd be at a medical show. I'll never forget this. For Nordic Naturals, I'm in the booth. I was the booth guy. I'm sure you can see that now. Hey, welcome, right?
Right.
That was my dad.
Right.
I'll never forget. This guy looked at me and he said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "You're short and you're bald and you're skinny. And it says on the bottle to take 2.
Right.
This guy was taller than you. And wait till you see Nolen if you don't know Nolen, right? Nolen's GQ, right? This guy's a big, tall, head full of hair. He goes, "Look at me." He goes, "Either I'm underdosing or you're overdosing."
Right.
But it makes me crazy because here we are, a bunch of physicians here at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and we want to integrate these worlds, and there's something wrong here. So what do we mean by weight-specific dosing? I'm 150 pounds. I take 15 milliliters, half a shot glass.
Right.
If you're 300 pounds, you take twice as much. Now, does that mean you have to do it like that? Not necessarily. But remember, if you want to do our challenge, of 120 days, that's what they recommend. If you're just going to take the balanced product, just half the dose, it might take you a little bit longer to get there. Next is the dry blood spot testing. That's accountability. If you can't measure it, you can't do anything about it. The olive polyphenols, they're the protected delivery system. I like to say this, the olive polyphenols and the olive oil, they're the Uber. They're the Uber that carry the EPA and DHA to the red blood cell. They're the chaperones. What do I mean by a chaperone? I remember sending my kid in junior high school. I remember how we were. I'll speak for myself. You have some adults go with the teenagers so they, kind of don't get in trouble and get home safe. The polyphenols are the chaperones. They protect the kids. And then customers report improved skin, focus, energy, and mood. And finally, it's a process you can see, feel, and prove. That's why we want to invite you to take the 120-day challenge and get tested with us.
Hey, anything you want to say before you go, Stuart?
This is the most important number for health and longevity that you don't know. And when we all meet face to face, the first thing we want to know is each other's number. Not your phone number, your test number.
Hey, and if you want to get that number, go to biobootcamplive.com. Right at the top, it's going to say, take your test here. You click that, watch some videos, and we'll walk you directly through it. If you want more information on some of the stuff that we're putting out, follow us and share everything that we had at Bio Bootcamp Live. That's at Bio Bootcamp Live. I'm Nolen Davis. I want to thank you for tuning in to the show today. And until next time, love to live to love. And before I say be well, we got a test-a-thon coming. And be well.